Money FM 89.3. Best of breakfast. Mind your business. Only on Money FM 89.3.
Yes, thanks for joining us here on The Breakfast Show. It's Audrey Seek here with you, helping to mind your business. When most Singaporeans hear ERP, we probably think of those gantries where your car pays a toll on the highway. But in the business world, ERP means something very different. Enterprise Resource Planning. Think of it as the central operating system of a company, running finances, HR, supply chains, basically keeping the whole business engine humming. Here's the catch. Traditional ERP systems can be expensive, rigid, and notoriously slow to adapt. And right now, with trade tensions, rising tariffs, inflation, and economic uncertainty, many CFOs and CIOs are asking the tough question, are these legacy systems really fit for purpose anymore? Well, Seth Ravin, CEO of Rimini Street, which provides enterprise software products, services, and support, is joining us to share his unique perspective on how businesses in Asia can rethink IT spending and thrive despite all of those headwinds. Seth, it's always great to speak with you. Good morning, and thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me back, Audrey and Ryan. It's great.
It's great to have you. All right, so lots going on right now to worry about, right? We have global trade tensions, particularly between U.S. and China. We have disrupted supply chains, inflation, higher interest rates, yada, yada. So businesses are under pressure. From your perspective, Seth, how are these factors changing the way CFOs and CIOs think about their ERP and IT investments today?
Well, the world is changing, and the important thing is not to focus in on any one tariff or anything that's happening on an individual basis. What we're having is a change. We had the Global Tariff and Trade Agreement put in place in 1995, and what you're watching is it's disintegrating. And now companies are going to have to understand that deglobalization is here. We're going to have to think about supply chains and where we make products differently. And so this is causing a lot of stress in the core systems that run companies because they have to modify them. They have to adapt to a very fast-changing world.
Yeah. So many companies are now, delaying major tech projects and looking for maybe lower cost alternatives. Is this just a temporary pause, or do you see it as a sign that the traditional ERP model is under some real strain?
Well, when we talk about ERP, as you said, ERP are the systems and processes that run an enterprise, from paying employees to building products to shipping products. All of that has to happen. So whether you're doing it on pencil and paper or whether you're using a software and a computer, the new paradigm that's coming in AI is going to provide so much more flexibility to meet the changing world. Yeah. And that's what we're looking at today.
Okay. So for decades, big players like SAP and Oracle have dominated the ERP space. But I believe you've said before, ERP as we know it is dead. So can you unpack that for us? What's holding traditional ERP systems back today?
Well, we're shocking everyone by declaring the software that runs these enterprises dead. And what we mean by that is it's not that it can't help them today. It is not flexible enough to change with these big systems fast enough to meet the changes that companies have to go through. And therefore, we are using AI on top of it to make the changes much faster. And of course, in the world of everything, faster, better, cheaper is what we have to do in companies.
Yeah, and that sounds fantastic. And you talked about the inflexibility of these legacy systems. What are the risks if companies keep spending on the old way of doing things?
Well, those vendors want you to put money into new versions of the same exact products.
Right.
They have a few new features. They have a few little new technology components. But that's not the direction we're advising clients. We're saying you can continue to use your existing systems, take the money instead, and use it to buy innovation that will move your business forward for tomorrow.
What kind of innovation are we talking about here? Is it cloud, SaaS, that kind of thing?
Well, it's AI, agentic AI, which you have to think of as hiring new employees. Electronic employees are agents, and those agents can now do the work that humans used to do at a much lower price. So we're bringing down the amount of labor and the cost of labor to run these systems today.
Okay, so while the old systems may be holding some companies back, the good news is that there are newer strategies kind of emerging. IDC reports show companies in APAC are moving toward cloud, SaaS, and third-party support models to cut costs while freeing up more capital for growth. So what strategies are you seeing among the forward-looking companies in Asia and Singapore that are working?
Well, the exciting thing is, of course, everyone hears about AI. They don't know what it means and they don't know how to use it. And for many companies, because they don't understand the use cases yet, they look at it and say, wow, we have a solution to a problem we don't understand.
Yeah.
And so that's what's happening now is we're starting to install AI and using these agents in ways that companies can say, oh, I can see how that reduces labor. A person's job goes from 20 minutes to 1 minute because the electronic agents do so much more of the work. And that's what's happening with the forward-leaning companies right now.
Okay, so of course this isn't just a story for the big multinationals. Small and medium-sized enterprises make up most of the Asian economy. So for the SMEs and the mid-sized firms, keeping up with global giants can feel impossible. So how can they stay competitive while dealing with rising costs and pressure to innovate?
Well, the amazing thing is AI can be cost effective even for mid-sized businesses. They shouldn't be scared away from the technology. Mid-sized businesses can compete with large enterprises because they're more flexible. They can do things that big companies can't turn fast enough to do. So using their agility, their flexibility, even though they're smaller, can be an advantage over large companies.
Okay, that's a good way to look at it. But let's zoom out for a moment and talk about your approach at Rimini Street. Your company built its business by offering independent software support at half the cost than traditional vendor programs, I believe. So what lessons can you share with, business leaders here in Singapore about challenging industry giants and thriving by doing things differently?
Well, we certainly help the mid-size, but we do a lot with the bigger companies too. We're helping them navigate their changes for global disruption that's happening. And so we're helping them really focus on where to spend their IT money. There's areas to spend it, there's areas to save it, and to make sure they're making investments in the next generation of AI technology and understand what that is and how it can help those enterprises.
Am I allowed to ask, Seth, who your clients are if you had to name drop some people?
Sure, of course, the M1s here in Singapore. We do so many, 200 plus of the global Fortune 100 and 500 enterprises. We do a lot of work in government and military. So we really do help a majority of the transactions around the world that drive the global economy.
Okay, so do you see any, parallels or any similar challenges that run across most of your clients that you've had to help solve for them?
Well, every company has a budget for IT. And it should be somewhere between 6 and 10% of their revenue. And if they're spending more than that, then they're probably overspending. And they need to look at ways to make the money go farther. And that means being smart about the investments they make and not always following what software vendors want them to do.
Okay. So many of our listeners are SME owners or entrepreneurs who may not run huge ERP systems, but they face similar challenges as well. So what practical advice would you give them for future-proofing operations and staying competitive?
I think they'd have to do exactly what the big companies are doing. They have to be smart about their spending, and they have to make the investments in innovation. They need AI. They need to understand it, and they need to understand how it can change their business from a labor perspective, making their systems faster, more flexible, so they don't have to change out what they have today. They can leverage that for many years to come, and they put AI over the top instead of replace their existing systems.
Okay, so with AI and automation now reshaping industries, can these technologies fit into ERP? Can they make existing systems smarter, or do companies need to start fresh entirely?
Well, we can use the existing systems, and then you can put AI over the top, so you start automating the things that people are doing and humans are doing, so you can do them faster, better, and cheaper on running your business. In this highly competitive world, whether you're a small business, a large business, it is fiercely competitive. And that means the person who will win is the company that has the lowest cost to serve and can make a profit on top of that. If you can do that better than anyone else, you will win the business.
All right. Well, the takeaway is clear. Rethinking IT isn't just a cost-saving exercise. It's a way to keep your business agile and resilient and ready for whatever the future throws at you. Seth, it was great chatting with you as always. Thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
Thank you. That was Seth Ravin, CEO of Rimini Street. You're listening to Money FM 89.3. Stay with us.
Money FM 89.3.